Howdy, folks. So, you got a ticket to Burning Man. Congratulations. I'm Taz, and I'm here with helpful hints for the virgin and possibly not so virgin burner to make your trip the most safest, enjoyable, and memorable event that you've attended. Okay, let's get right down to it. Now, I can't emphasize more than plan, plan, plan. Prepare, prepare, prepare. Okay, the reason you want to take this into consideration is Burning Man is in the middle of nowhere. I mean, there's nowhere around that you can get your accessories, and no one can reach you. Most of the cell phones will not work there. Whatever you missed out on. You can try getting it from your neighbors, but that's only marginally possible. You can try to improvise, but then again, there's only so much success. So the important thing is to prepare as much as possible for as long as in advance as possible. Okay? Now, let me go a little more on this. The thing you want to keep in mind is Murphy's Law. Why? Because anything can happen at Burning Man. 2003, we had a big rainstorm. It happens. You never suspected it would happen, but you have to be prepared for things like that. Especially things like when you want to go home. Things happen. So if you're telling your boss, I'm going to be back at a certain date and a certain time, be prepared. You might have to call and say, I ran into problems. So keep that in mind when you're planning. Now, another thing. In your plans, you want to diversify your alternatives. What I mean by that...
It ran out. Something happened. No, we're good.
Okay. What I mean by that is have alternatives. Like I have plan A, plan B, and a plan C. Now, an example of that is basically like your shelter. You can't tell, how your tent or dwelling will hold out at Burning Man. By the way, those carports that you get from Costco, they were not meant for 60 mile per hour gusts. So be prepared that if your primary shelter doesn't work, have some other alternative plan. And that might be as simple as sleeping in your car or truck or whatever. Or at worst, you might be, sleeping under the stars. So keep that in mind. And another thing is improvisation. For example, I had in mind that I was going to recycle my water because you have to bring so much water up to Burning Man, and I was thinking, well, if I can possibly recycle, some of this water, I won't have to carry up as much. And innovation is good. I mean, Burning Man is about innovation. There's nothing wrong with innovation, but you have to consider what happens if your plan doesn't work out. So what I did is, I brought up this water filter, and it did work for a certain amount of water, but it quickly got clogged up by the pile of mud. So luckily I had enough water to carry me through. But think of what happens if your innovation doesn't work out. Have a backup plan. Okay, Now, it's kind of hard to think about all your needs to bring up, because the thing in daily life, you do things that you don't even think about. Like, you know, you get up in the morning, you put your slippers on, and you probably go to the bathroom. Only at Burning Man, the bathroom isn't the room next door. It's the porta potties down the street. You might, shave, and you look in a mirror, and you have to have a mirror. And then you might brush your teeth. You have to have, your toothbrush there or whatever. And you do all these things, and you don't even think about it. You take a shower, but you have to have a shower set up. So what you should do is list all your daily rituals from the start of the morning all the way to the time you go to bed, and list them. And you have to think, what did you need to do to accomplish that task? So you make this list for an entire week, and you have to think about what you would have to bring up to accomplish that in an area where there's nothing, basically nothing there. Okay? Now, these are essential considerations. Now, once you get through the gates, you have, so to speak, crossed the Rubicon. I mean, there is no turning back. Either you got it there or you don't have it. So, one of the things you want to make sure you have are your tools. Okay. You got your tools, your hammer, and all that. And basically include your dust mask and goggles, a flashlight, at least one tent stake, and electrolytes, or like hydration. And I usually carry some energy chews. And if you have hardware, you should bring a heavy shallow draft ceramic plate. Okay, the reason for all of this is that once you arrive at Burning Man and you finally get through the line there, and you headed towards the spot you want to camp, you have no idea what the conditions will be like. I mean, you could go there with the pitch black, moonless night in the middle of a windstorm with 60 mile per hour gusts going around you, or it could be even raining. You don't know what you're walking into. So you have to have your tools where you can readily accessible. You can't be digging through your stuff in a dust storm. So you have all those things available to you. And the one tent stake is important because you don't want to be chasing your tent to the trash bins. So make sure you secure it down. And another thing is if you have medicines. Okay. If you have diabetes, you have to consider, do these medications need refrigeration? And you better have stocked your medicines before you left, because it's pretty much a sure bet that you're not going to get it anywhere around. You're not going to be able to go to the local pharmacy and pick it up. So you have to be sure to include your medicines. And you have to be able to keep them cold. Okay, suppose you have asthma and it's in an aerosol. Okay, well, thing about aerosols, they have to be kept at a certain temperature. Otherwise, you go to your car and you're going to find a new air freshener in your car or truck. So that's one of the things you want to keep in mind. Okay, next. Do not bring up glass. You have anything in glass, transfer them to a plastic container. The reason, if you break the glass, then you got shards of glass all over the place. But even if you do break some glass there, take the ground around that area with you, because nobody wants to be stepping on a shard of glass on the dirt. And the next one is about aerosols again. You don't want to bring aerosols. Or if you do bring up aerosols, you got to make arrangements so that you can keep them within the temperature confines. All right. Next thing. Dust. It's everywhere. Everywhere you go, there's going to be dust. And your standard, they're water resistant tents, not waterproof tents. Even if you get dust on them, that dust will manage to get through the fibers. So even if you close up all the windows and the doors, which I don't suggest, because if you do that, when you go in, you're going to be walking into a sauna. The dust will still get through. It's like toner fluid with a vacuum cleaner. Toner fluid will go straight through the dust bag on a vacuum cleaner. It's no blockage at all. And you tap the top of your tent and you can see the dust coming down. So it's going to be inside your tent, it's going to be on your mattress, it's going to be on your toothbrush, it's going to be on your shoes, it's going to be everywhere. So the dust you have at Burning Man is alkaline. It's caustic soda. That's like the drain cleaners you use to clean out your drains. But of course, you're not going to be exposed to concentrations that strong or that long at Burning Man. But even in smaller amounts, it can be problematic. So you want to be able to deal with that. For one thing, even in small amounts, it dries your skin, and that will cause problems. So when it dries your skin will become scaly and dry, and become so scaly that you can literally do this by the end of the week.
Wow.
Okay. So what do you want to do about that? How do you want to prepare for that before that happens? Well, the strategy